King David was told, hey, you think you're doing such a good job and you are doing a great job. It's not like Hashem was like, you're not doing anything. But he was basically, do you realize the depth of song that this simple frog is actually singing? Right? And there's a story about the Maggid of Mezrich, student of the Ba'al Shem Tov, that every morning he would wake up very early and he would just kind of like, go to the base medrash and he would be learning. He would learn in the house of study. At a certain point, he just kind of like, like got out and nobody knew where he went. And they didn't want to follow him, it's something private. And this was happening every single day. So his students said, we want to learn. Like we want to learn Torah. Like, it's like it's our teacher. We want to learn. So they followed him. And they followed him and he was walking and he went down to the riverbank. And in the riverbank, they saw him sitting and meditating basically by the riverbank and listening to the croaks, right, of the frogs that were there in the morning. And the Rebbe saw them, and he was like, "You guys are probably wondering what I'm doing here." They're like, "Yes, in fact, like we want to know." So he said, "I'm listening to the frogs, right? I'm listening to the songs of the frogs. That these frogs are singing out to Hashem such sublime songs that we can't even imagine." This is true not only of the frog or frogs, but it's true of every creature and every plant and tree and every part of the universe, right, is singing out to Hashem. The Maimonides says that all of the planets are singing out to Hashem in a most wondrous way that we can never imagine, right? Every single star, right? The sun, the moon, right? The heavens, all of creation is singing out to Hashem. And essentially, we are living in a symphony, in a beautiful symphony that is sung to Hashem, right? And the symphony was then composed by King Solomon and by King David and King Solomon, right? It's attributed to them. That King David was like, oh, I've got to listen now beyond my 10 songs of Tehillim. I want to listen to the songs of creation. And that's what he did, right? And King Solomon, who was the wisest of all men, that understood all languages, right? And we know there's languages of everything in creation has a language, has a form of expression different than our expression. And he was able to understand that expression fully. And in fact, it says that the great sages knew that. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was able to knew the language of the trees, the language of the birds, the language of the animals. He knew what they were saying, right? He had that depth of understanding, and certainly so much more so King David and King Solomon. And so they comprised this song, which is called Perek Shira. Now, anyone who says Perek Shira, it says about this, it's just like such great things, such powerful things. Anyone that says this every single day merits to have the next world, right? We just kind of read this before, right? It says that they get to have a long life. They're saved from their enemies, birth pangs of Mashiach, like all types of terrible things. They're going to be successful in this, and all incredible merits, right? And there's stories about this that anyone that takes upon themselves to say Perek Shira for 40 consecutive days will see a salvation at the end of the 40 days. And there are stories like that. So King David and King Solomon, Michelle, wrote the Perek. I mean, they're brought together from verses, right? That they felt that they were, these creation is singing a lot, but if we had to summarize their song, right, what the eagle was saying, what this type of tree was saying. They were saying this verse, right? So by us saying it, because we're human, by us saying it, what we're actually doing, and this is a prelude to next week's class, where we're going to talk about the Merkava, right? The chariot, where we've got the rest of creation, right? We've got the lion, we've got the ox, the eagle, but then we've got the face of man. And so we are on the one hand, we were created the last of all of creation, but then we were created really the first. So by us being humbled, in other words, first, meaning in the purpose of creation, God created Adam, right? As the crown jewel of creation is man, right? If he or she acts correctly, right? And is humble by the rest of creation, by the creation that's there, and is then able to not just be a part of creation, but then uplift all of creation. So how do we uplift all of creation? We're humbled by Hashem's incredible creation, by the symphony. But by us singing the symphony, we are uplifting all of creation, and therefore we receive the blessings of all of creation upon us.